Hi guys, I would like to talk about the preview and prediction for the next episode of Dr. Romantic 3. Join us as we break down a small detail of the episode 7 preview and theories for the upcoming episode 8. In the last episode, Yu Rim's mother, who recognized Cha Jin Man, said that he was the reason for her daughter's suffering 12 years ago, and giving the diagnosis that her daughter has no hope from this man again is what triggers her so much. At the time of the humidifier disinfectant incident 12 years ago, he testified based on his own medical opinion, which resulted in victims not receiving adequate compensation. In addition to the 6th episode revelation, a story about a victim of humidifiers was dealt with. When she was 8 years old, she suffered lung disease from humidifiers. Miss Yu Rim has been suffering from complications for 12 years already. Day by day, she suffers from pain and anxiety. While crossing the highway, she felt shortness of breath come again, and in its place, a serious accident happened and she got hit by a truck. The first police investigation resulted in a suicide attempt because of her social media post. Fortunately, Dr. Zhang In-su's daughter revealed that she was the only witness to the accident and explained the situation at the time. Accurately testify and with medic-supported testimony, so that Miss Yu Rim could finally proceed to surgery. On the other hand, Yu Rim is operated on by Professor Cha at the end of the 6th episode. Let's see what happens next with Yu Rim's lung transplant surgery. Let's hope she survives. Based on the given preview of upcoming episodes, there was a shooting incident at the nearby military base, so this means that the Doldam and Trauma Center would be at risk and could put patients, medical teams, and civilians in extreme danger. It seems that there is a civilian who made a report that a mountaineer has passed out on the road and is a possible victim of gunshots, and he will be rushed to the Doldam hospital. Meanwhile, inside Doldam hospital, there is chaos due to the number of military victims of gun shootings. It seems the military officers inform the doctor what will happen in the military base and why there are so many gun victims. And they are also alerting the entire medical team to the possibility of the gun shooter entering. Also, Wu Jin can be seen curing the victim and doing first aid to determine the victim's condition and whether it requires surgery or basic medical aid. Unfortunately, according to Manager Zhang's narration, he said, "He's still on the run." I think Manager Zhang accidentally heard that these military men are referring to a gun shooter who is constantly wanted and pursued by the military, but who escaped and is likely to hide in the Doldam Hospital or Trauma Center. Surprisingly, we can see in the preview scene after this that there are many military personnel dispatched inside the Doldam hospital. I believe it is for securing the facility against the shooter and taking safety measures to prevent something worse from happening. So that's why Manager Zhang immediately reported and informed Master Kim of what he knew, because we can see in the facial expression of Master Kim that he felt so worried because it's not just the gunshot victims that they need to attend to. They are all at risk, and they also need to protect the safety of civilians, patients, and medical personnel. They also need to be aware of their surroundings in order to catch the culprit if he is hiding, because if not, it is possible that a serious incident could happen and the civilian or the medical staff themselves could be taken hostage. In addition, Wu Jin heard that there is a fear that a more serious danger may surround the entire hospital. He is so worried, and at the same time, those medical personnel who know this are worried and afraid of what might happen. I hope that no one will be harmed among them, and I hope that Wu Jin does not take steps that will harm him from the gun shooter. But first, they need to act as calmly as they can because the patient needs their focus at the same time. Even if there is fear, they need to secure and save the patient in front of them because it needs to be treated immediately. Unfortunately, based on Wu Jin's narration, this patient has one bullet still in the abdomen. I believe this is also one of the military victims. I'm so curious. What do you think is the story behind this shootout, and what is the identity of the culprit? Why did he do it? Let's unfold it in next week's episode. I'm so very curious. Meanwhile, in this preview scene, Master Kim operates the critical patient, so he tried his best to save this patient, and we will see that he operates it with the help of Yoon Jae. I believe this is also a victim of a gunshot. Unfortunately, Dr. Yoon Jae can be seen shaking with blood on her gloves from the operation, and based on her reaction, she felt so devastated with a shock expression, and suddenly Dr. Nam announces cardiac arrest. They can be seen doing CPR to save the patient. Yoon-jae felt so sad and said, "I failed this patient. It's so sad if they can't really save the patient, even though this is not the first patient to die in the hospital. But I feel that no matter how immune they are to getting used to receiving these painful events inside the hospital, it is associated with their profession, but every time it happens, it still hurts them. This is a depressing situation, and I can feel it in Yoon-jae's eyes, just like Dr. Yoon when he lost a patient in the last episode. Even with the length of your career as a doctor, you will feel sympathy and empathy for the patient and their family." Shocking news comes. According to Dr. Nam, the blood transport vehicle is stuck in traffic. This could be the cause of a bigger problem because it is urgently needed inside the operating room for emergencies. Meanwhile, I believe Master Kim's reaction after hearing those words from Yoon-jae is that he will give an inspiring word to help Yoon-jae gain courage and strengthen her hope, at even if there is a 20% success rate. They have to do everything for the patient and not lose their will. Most importantly, teamwork and cooperation are key so that we will see Director Park and Dr. Young, if I'm not mistaken, running outside Doldam carrying containers to make up for the lack of blood, helping to solve the problem regarding the blood transport vehicle that is stuck in heavy traffic because of the heaviest snowfall, and speeding up its delivery to the Doldam Hospital emergency room. It is so surprising to see the character development of Director Park from Season 2 to Season 3, and how good he is as a director on Doldam and how he does everything to be an efficient and effective part of the Doldam medical team. He can be seen running so fast with Dr. Young, if I'm not mistaken, because we know Dr. Young in emergencies is not very trustworthy. But let's see if he has character development because, based on some fans' reactions to the past episodes, he is also one of the reasons why Dr. Jong forgot his patient that caused conflict. This patient is in the observation room and resulted in cardiac arrest. I think the conflict between the assemblyman and the trauma center medical staff is not over. This is for his son's justice. It does not end there, and the assemblyman is still preparing for how she can avenge the death of her son. Based on her understanding, they let her son die alone. She also believed there was negligence or malpractice on the part of the hospital and the doctor. I think that is the beginning of the biggest conflict. Also, she will make Professor Cha pay a lot for his harsh words during her grief and mourning. Let's see what will happen and what conflict it will bring to the entire Doldam Trauma Center. On the other hand, in the next preview scene, Dr. Jong informs and confirms that the shooter who is on the run seems to be inside the hospital. This will pose a danger to everyone inside Doldam Hospital and Trauma Center. Surprisingly, if we can notice the person wearing a sweater holding a dangerous weapon and his undershirt is the same, it is possible that this is the patient seen in the first scenes of the preview for episode 7, and it is possible that he pretended to be a patient to escape from the soldiers. What is troubling here is that he has a gun in his hand that he could potentially use to harm others and cause a bigger problem. I noticed in the preview scene the screaming and scarred medical personnel with Dr. Jang Dong-hwa. I guess the gunmen started to take hostages or start shootouts with the military. I hope not because, if it happens, there will be many civilians involved in the gunshot or because he only scared those civilians with his gun. On the other hand, with military personnel and Master Kim entering the front desk of the Doldam, it is possible that there was a disturbance because the hospital documents and property can be seen in a mess, along with the presence of military personnel securing the area. With the shocking expression of Dr. Jong, he felt so worried, but at the same time, he helped a civilian patient with the evacuation procedure. Also, Professor Cha can be seen worried about what happened, and he called Yoon-jae to evacuate for his daughter's safety. On the other side, Yoon-jae can be seen talking to his dad. Professor Cha said, "You should get out too. Evacuate." But I don't think Yoon-jae will follow this. She might prioritize patient safety first. She also needs to find Dr. Woo-jin and check if he's fine. Meanwhile, Yoon-tak is on the side, informing Master Kim to evacuate because there are many patients who need his presence in the evacuation. But Master Kim notices Dr. Woo Jin's disappearance, so he orders him to find and check on Dr. Woo Jin's whereabouts. And he will make sure to secure all the medical staff before anything else. I believe Dr. Woo Jin will encounter the gunman and try to stop him from doing the shootout or harming others. The next episode is intense and scary because we will see the gunman point a gun at Woo Jin. We hope nothing bad happens and he stops it immediately. On the other hand, based on Dr. Yoon's voice, she looked everywhere in the hospital, but she couldn't find Dr. Woo Jin. It's scary what's really going on with Woo Jin and the criminal. I hope nothing bad happens. Shockingly, while there was chaos and searching for him, there was a loud gunshot that shook everyone in the Doldam. It seems like Woo Jin got into a big accident, based on some theories. During Woo Jin's confrontation with the gunman and the next scene, they hear gunshots. In the last preview scene, Yoon Jae looks like her world has stopped, and she is so worried after the loud gunshot. Master Kim's facial expression tells us so many things when he says Woo Jin, because the intense emotions will be reflected in his eyes and voice. He is so worried about what will happen to Woo Jin. Let's hope Woo Jin is in safe condition. Thanks, bye.